Quarantine is a 2008 American film directed by John Eric Dowdle and a remake of the 2007 Spanish film Rec, directed by Jaume Balaguerro. Yep, that's a 1 year turnaround, which is not super common. In fact, it's kind of weird, but what can you do? Now, Quarantine was a bit of a curveball for me to include in this series. I am a huge fan of the original film, and I had been meaning to watch Quarantine actually, like since it came out, which I just got to last night. I've seen Rec a bunch of times, and I think it's just a masterpiece. I think it revolutionized the zombie genre just like 28 Days Later did some years earlier. I know that the American remake couldn't possibly keep up, but I remained optimistic. And after watching it, it doesn't. No surprise there, but it's also not bad. And I do have to wonder, would it be a better film if the original didn't exist and Quarantine was just an original film? I think it would, at least to an extent. That said, I did like it. It's a solid watch. Jennifer Carpenter plays Angela, the lead here, and she's a TV reporter, followed by her cameraman Scott, played by Steve Harris. And they are filming a special following around the Los Angeles Fire Department on what should have been just a typical day on the night shift. After receiving an emergency call at an apartment complex, Angela and Scott ride along only to be quarantined inside the building by the CDC, along with the firefighters, a police officer, actually a couple of police officers, and the building's residents. I had a pretty good time with this. It was fairly tense for most of the 90-minute runtime. I do like found footage stuff when it's done right. It's done pretty well here. I mean, there's a lot of shaky cam, but it makes sense in this situation. Shaky cam makes sense in found footage films, I think, for the most part. And I've always loved Jennifer Carpenter. I think she's great in the right situation. She can really act her ass off, and just watch The Exorcism of Emily Rose for proof of that. And she goes for it here, man, as much as she can. Even if it wasn't always super convincing, I got a little bit bored in the middle of the film, but the tight runtime did help. It's got some good gore, some good practical effects, a good body count. It's pretty brutal, fairly creepy, but man, it just doesn't touch Rec. Rec is one of the scariest movies of all time. I think it's one of the best zombie movies of all time. I also think it even does something original by adding the religious slant, which the remake touches on, but it just wasn't as effective. They actually kind of fumbled that aspect, to be honest. I'm not really sure why. They just barely touch on it, so it really just feels like a standard zombie film, really, but in found footage, which we have seen before. So I'm giving the edge to Rec, the original, hands down, no contest. But Quarantine, still pretty good. The important question is, which do you prefer? Thanks for watching, and I do hope I see you tomorrow night for my 13th and final video in this series. Cheers, guys. Stay spooky.